Do you have a preferred way in which you use Bollinger Bands yourself?
Daily and weekly for me, but that's an artifact of how I learned the business. When I came into the business 45 years ago, um, options commissions were very high, spreads were very wide. So trading expenses, net trading expenses were very, very high. Short-term trading was basically prohibitive. All you did was pay the brokers and the market makers.
Yeah,
And
they
there's
would love
very,
it, right?
very little left for you. So we had to learn how to trade a longer time frames. We called it swing trading at the time, but we were using daily and weekly charts, sometimes monthly charts even, and we were looking for those big moves, those 20, 30, 40, 50% moves that would last weeks. The advantage too was the tax rates were very, very high. So if you could find a position that would let you get into a long-term capital gain, that was a real advantage too. So all those things that was the crucible I was forged in, if you will. So I remain true to those things. I'm primarily a stock investor. I like long-term relative strength, and I like longer term charts.
I was going to ask, have you made any adjustments? Because as you said, there is a lot that's changed. I mean, from regulation FD, for instance, that does seem to kind of add a little bit of extra volatility around earnings. The commission structure has changed. I mean, of course, it was in fractions previously. Now it's decimals, and fractions of a penny now, where it's you're going out multiple decimals sometimes. So I don't think it requires changes here, but I was just wondering if there is anything that you're like, oh, you know what, this deserves a tweak here to just represent the current environment.
No, Bollinger Bands are specified today exactly as they were specified when I created them. It's a 20 period moving average plus or minus two standard deviations. Those are the defaults. But we do have something new today that did require some adaptation. We have 24-hour markets today. So the problem is that the closing prices mood in those markets and the opening prices mood in those markets. When do they open? When do they close? So we did an adaptation of Bollinger Bands that ignore the open and close and focus on solely the highs and lows of each period, which are still well defined. We call those Bollinger envelopes. So it's an adaptation for things that really do trade 24/7. I primarily did that for the forex and crypto markets.
Right. Okay. Now, I also wanted to just again, we're looking at a visual here, and as you said, I mean this one actually looks like more than 90% of the price action is within those bands. What does it tell you when it kind of gets outside of the bands? Either to the upside or the downside. What does that mean to you?
It just means that you're very stretched out. We like to say that you've gone too far, too fast, whether it's you go to the upside or the downside. And so then we look for a reversal. That's one of the problems with the way many people use Bollinger Bands. They get outside of the Bollinger Bands and they expect an immediate reversal. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. The name of the game with this sort of trading, with this pattern trading and with relative strength trading, is to wait for confirmation. Often these high relative strength stocks will go through high level consolidations, and if you want to add to a position or establish a new position after one of those, you really want to wait until you get confirmation that the new trend is emerging. We have a little saying with Bollinger Bands. When the Bollinger Bands are very, very, very tight, which is typical after a consolidation, that's where trends are born. And when the bands are very, very, very wide, that's where trends go to die. So that's another way to look at it. If you look at that bottom indicator on the chart, that's actually a measure of bandwidth, and you can see bandwidth is very, very high here. So we're on the alert to see whether we're going to get either the end of this trend or enter a consolidation period here yet, but no evidence that that's true yet.
Mm-hmm. So just while we're here, so this is again there's two lines here for the Bollinger Band wick,
Yeah. So there's
a dashed and a solid.
you want to look at the solid one. The light one is what the bandwidth would be at the next higher time frame. So that's what the monthly bandwidth would be.
Hmm. Okay, and
That's a real neat feature that TrendSpider does. Is you can plot indicators for different time frames in the same clip. The same is true for the sort of bluish indicator above it. That's percent B and shows us where we are in relation to the Bollinger Bands. And
hmm
the thinner line would be the monthly
the next
percent B,
level up. So
whereas
if you're looking at a daily, it's going to be, oh, here's your weekly, and
yeah,
if you're
those are
looking
the
at a
two I
weekly.
use. I use daily and
Mhm.
weekly and monthly.
hmm And I want to talk just a little bit before we move on. I just want to talk a little bit more about that that idea of tightness, because we've had Dan Fitzpatrick on, and I know Dan Fitzpatrick worked with you
He
many
did.
years ago. He talked about how much he learned from you, and he often talks about the pinch and pop. You know, where the bands get really tight, and it's kind of like it's very pinched, and then when you get that pop. And look, sometimes directionally it'll be a pop to the downside, and that gives you some information. This is one to either short or
Yeah.
avoid, or you get that pinch to the upside, which or the pop to the upside, which is almost like a breakout where out of a little consolidation. So
And
you've shown us the reversals,
those are often the birth of a trend.
right? Yeah. So that's kind of, you would expect that more at like a turning point, an inflection point, or at the beginning of the trend, as opposed to these reversals where is it the uptrend is already established and you're looking for areas to either add or enter a position that maybe is
Well,
been in place already.
you have two examples on that chart. If you look at the left hand sort of purple circle,
Hmm.
lavender circle, that is a squeeze. We use the term squeeze, pinch,
Right.
whatever. We use so that is a squeeze, and you get a breakdown out of that squeeze, and then an immediate reversal to the upside, and we call that a head fake. And I think it's one of the most powerful. One of the most powerful Bollinger Band patterns.
Hmm.
And then if you look over at the second lavender circle from the right, next
Mm.
one over, yeah, that
Yep.
guy. That's another squeeze,
Yeah.
and you can see that results in immediately a break to the upside and a
Hmm.
run up the upper band.
hmm Yeah. Um, and what is your expectation? Let's maybe talk a little bit on the sell side. So, do you use Bollinger Bands at all on the sell side?
Hmm.
Because I mean, this is great on the buy side, but what about the sell side?
So, as you well know, tops are harder than bottoms. Bottoms are usually more etched out more clearly, more clearly delineated, and that's because pain is a much more urgent emotion than is satisfaction or happiness. So tops tend to be longer, drawn out affairs. They tend to take more time to develop, and they tend to be more complex. So they're a little bit harder to diagnose. So where we look at bottoms for 2-bar reversals and W bottoms, for tops we look for M tops and what we call 3 pushes to a high, which is simply a 3-part top. So that's the difference in what we look for in terms of buys and sells. Um, you know,
And then are you also looking for it to kind of push again above that band, above the top band, above that envelope?
so typically in 3 pushes to a high, the first push will easily get outside of the upper band. The second push will stop in relation to the upper band, and the third push will fail to attain the upper band. So you
Hmm.
get a 3-part divergence. You get very strong, not so strong, and really not so strong.
Hmm.
And then, as with everything we do, we wait for confirmation. We wait for a meaningful down day to confirm the pattern.